In this lesson we'll create the shader for our wine glasses. Okay, so we're going to use the AI standard that we just created. So let's bring that image back up. Let's just have a look at what we're trying to recreate. With glass we've got reflection on the edges and we've got refraction in the middle there. The refraction is the bending of the light, so you can see the background but you can see it's kind of distorted because the light is passing through and it's going to bend the light. And then we don't really have any diffuse there, you can see there's no colour there. So those are the main visual qualities. We've got reflection and refraction and no diffuse. So let's put that into our shader. I'm just going to go over to my render view here. Just make sure that that's on. And then I'm going to go to diffuse and let's change that to 0. So it's completely black. And then we're going to go to reflection. And we'll change this to 1 so that we've got full reflections. Let's turn on Fresnel as well, which is basically going to say you're going to have more reflection on the edges and less in the faces that are facing towards you. And you see this effect in most materials. The faces that are glancing will have a bigger reflection than the ones which are facing towards you. If you want a little bit more reflection, you can use the reflectance at normal slider and you can turn that up to have a bit more. So now that we've set the reflection, let's have a look at the refraction so that the light passes through the object. In the refraction section, let's change the weight to 1. And now if you look at the base of that object, you can see through it. If you look at the base of our wine glass, you can see that there's a black shadow there, and that's because Arnold still thinks that the object is opaque. So we have to tell Arnold that this object is not opaque. So we select our object. Let's go to the shape node of our object, Arnold section, and we're going to untick opaque. Watch the shadow. You can now see that the shadow has gone away there. So this is the setting you need to set if you've got a see-through object. Let's do the same thing with the other wine glass. I'm going to assign the same shader, assign existing material, glass. So now that we've set that up, let's adjust some more parameters. So let's go to the refraction section. At the moment, the light isn't actually bending. It looks like plastic glasses because the light isn't actually bending at the moment. So we need to change the index of refraction so that we're telling Arnold to bend the light. So we're going to set an IOR of 1.4, which is what glass is. And you can get these off the internet. And now you can see we get that nice bending of the light. In the refraction section we can also set Fresnel use IOR. That will set the reflection level based on the index of refraction that you've just set. So the higher the number that is, the more reflection you'll get. Let's have a look. So you can see there that we've got more reflections in the faces that are facing towards us. So the higher the index of refraction is, the more reflection you get with the faces that are facing towards us. Okay, I'm just going to set that back to 1.4. So that's the correct physical setting. You don't have to have that on. You can control reflection manually in the reflection section, and you can turn off Fresnel and just set that manually, but we're just going to set the correct physical settings for now. So you may have noticed that the top of the object doesn't look like it's see-through, and that's because we don't have enough rays to pass through this object. So we need to adjust our render settings so we have enough rays to pass through the entire object. So this model is made up of two objects. One is the wine object and the second one is the glass object. The rays have to pass through each of these faces, so you can see that there will be a face on the outside and on the inside of the wine glass, and then also on the outside faces of the wine and the other side of the wine as well. So for a light ray to pass through, it's going to have to go through 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 faces in order to get to the other side, including the wine. So you have to have enough rays so that it can penetrate through all the different faces that it's going to go. Let's just take a look at this in the scene. It's going to change to the default material, and you can see that this object is one object, the wine glass, and we've got the wine as well there, and it's got thickness to it, so it's got two faces on either side of the wine glass. Notice that for the wine the faces are facing inwards, and that's how it should be in order for it to look correct. Let me just undo that. So let's set our ray depth. We're going to go to render settings. So we're going to the Arnold renderer tab, ray depth, and we're going to change the refraction depth to, I'm just going to change it to 6 as we discussed. And now you can see that the object looks a bit better, and it looks like you can see through the object. All we need now is an environment so that this looks really cool, so we can actually see through to the background, because at the moment it's just black, and we need an environment around it so that it reflects, so it's got more to reflect. So in this lesson we set up our glass shader by setting up the reflection and refraction settings, and we also set the opaque tick box and the ray depth.